I first made this channel, politics really wasn't something that I had on my mind. This was really just supposed to be a Team Fortress 2 channel that I haven't even posted any TF2 content on because it's taken a lot longer than I had really expected it to. But with that being said, what I wanted to talk about today is something I've seen a lot in the headlines. Everyone keeps talking about Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is dead. We all know that. And, everyone's talking about what does this mean for Israel? What does this mean for Iran? What does this mean for Ukraine? What I want to talk about is the more local side of this. What does this mean for the state of South Carolina? So, to get the obvious out of the way, Lindsey Graham won his Republican nomination for the United States Senate. So, because he's died, the people of South Carolina will have to have a special election to elect somebody else. Now, a lot of people may just think that it would be the same people as last time, but what makes this really unique is that the South Carolina governor's race recently ended, I believe, with Alan Wilson beating out current Lieutenant Governor Pamela Everett. So that means that we're going to have a lot of establishment names, in this race. A lot of people think, oh, well, Lindsey Graham's the big establishment guy. We're going to get more, down to earth, younger, newer to politics people, Like personally, I'm a big Mark Lynch fan. I voted for Mark Lynch. I think he received 24% of the vote this last time around, which is really solid. And I would say, in a vacuum, he probably would usurp Lindsey. However, with Pamela Everett, our current lieutenant governor, losing her bid against Alan Wilson, I think that we're still going to have a lot of establishment people and old names kind of go for that seat, to move up in the U.S. government and really kind of fill the swamp with more bureaucracy and APAC funded politicians. So, in my personal opinion, I'm really hoping that Mark Lynch wins this election. I'm going to go and vote for him again. And to be honest, I really just kind of wanted to go over, you know, what do I think is realistically going to happen? And what does that mean kind of in the broader sense? Mark Lynch to me is a great candidate. I don't know. Again, if you don't know him, he's even still kind of unknown here in South Carolina. He is a South Carolina upstate businessman. I believe he's in Greenville, and he's just a very down to earth guy. He was a former drug addict, and he kind of turned his life around and became this like almost a pillar, of what you can do in South Carolina to go from like the gutter to having your own successful small business. He's America first. He's a patriot, is what I would call him. He's proud to be American, and he believes that we should be uninvolved in a lot of these foreign affairs, and that we should be, bringing a lot of this money home instead of sending it, to all these countries like Lindsey Graham would have loved, like just to bomb like people in Iran and just get ourselves involved in these wars that we really have no business being in. Mark Lynch, he's I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I could be, I could be remembering incorrectly, but I'm fairly certain on his campaign page, one of the big topics that he addresses is the Epstein files, and releasing those and declassifying them. So he's a what a lot of people don't like about Lynch is one thing that I really like about him is that he is a conservative without kind of he's not in that Trump sphere. Like he is a conservative, but he doesn't just like dick ride Donald Trump at every opportunity. Like he's willing to acknowledge when Trump is making bad decisions, when Trump is doing something that he doesn't agree with being America first. Again, he's still kind of one of those boomers. He's kind of in that post World War II, like American exceptionalism mindset. Israel is our greatest ally. But I do believe that he would be magnitudes superior for our domestic policy than Lindsey Graham was, and he's not. He is a little schizo, but I just don't think he'd be as divisive as Lindsey Graham is. The problem with Lindsey Graham is that nobody liked him. He wasn't conservative enough for the Republicans. He was way too conservative for the liberals, and it just kind of left him like in the cuck chair. He hates Donald Trump. Now he loves Donald Trump. The only people that I really see kind of giving Mark a run for his money are obviously Pamela Everett. She's the current lieutenant governor. And I think that her mindset, I don't even think she expected this governor's race to be competitive at all. I think she was like, I'm the lieutenant governor. Henry McMaster was lieutenant governor. I'm just going to walk right in with his endorsement and Trump's endorsement, and I'm just going to win. What was really shocking is, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if any of Trump's endorsements lost a lot of these really important elections here recently. And yet she did. She lost to Alan Wilson. So I think that she will probably run with a Trump endorsement, with the McMaster endorsement, in an attempt to take that seat, just kind of as like a consolation prize for not being able to win that governor's seat. And as much as I don't think she's very popular, I don't. She first of all, she looks like Nikki Haley. She's like Nikki Haley 2.0. Um, I think what was really supposed to happen is that Pamela Everett was going to become governor, and then she, not having not announced who her lieutenant governor would be, would appoint McMaster's son, because there's this whole thing where governor and lieutenant governor used to be elected separately, and then after McMaster they made them on the same ticket. It's all very suspect, all very like, people talk about that good old boy system, here in the South, but I don't really know what I would call this, but it's like a lot of backroom deals kind of thing. Which honestly, I mean, I'm not like a crackpot conspiracy theorist, but if you told me that like Nancy, or not Nancy Mace, Pamela Everett killed Lindsey Graham, I wouldn't fully discount it. I could see it happening. Um, I think she is really Mark Lynch's biggest opponent. I think that's who it will realistically come down to. I think it will be the establishment Everett against the more, America First grassroots Mark Lynch. I don't think Mark Lynch has received any real endorsements from the establishment. Everything I've seen, it's all grassroots. So, and that's very rare, in my opinion, to see with these Republicans, especially in deep red states where it's very easy to just prop up, somebody like Lindsey Graham. The only thing that I could really see kind of getting in either of those two's way, um, you have Congressman Ralph Norman. I don't really see him putting up much of a fight in this. He'd have to give up his current seat, and then that would be a whole nother thing. I do think Nancy Mace is crazy enough to go for it. We all know Nancy Mace is a little bit of a crackpot. I would have preferred her to beat out Pamela Everett, but that's because I had never heard of Alan Wilson before. I didn't even know the guy was running. He just kind of came out of the woodwork and, whooped Pam's ass. Um, so as much as I'd like to talk about, like, Nancy Mace is an America firster, she is in Trump's pocket. I think it would just be another establishment Republican, um, just kind of a yes man for Donald Trump. So if you want my honest opinion, I think that Mark Lynch will win this race. He had 29% of the vote. I can see a lot of people flocking over to him, people that were just kind of on Lindsey's side, not necessarily because they liked him, but they just kind of saw him as the only real choice. Um, but again, it wouldn't surprise me to see um, Pam Everett kind of take that seat. And in my opinion, I would see that as kind of illegitimate, not as in like falsifying the vote, but it's just a consolation prize at that point, and nothing's gonna change. She'll just be Lindsey Graham too, um, and just a yes man to whoever's in power, not necessarily just Donald Trump. But we'll see. Like I said, South Carolina is a deeply red state. I don't see Dr. Johnson, I think is his name. I don't see the Democrat nominee being able to use this division to their advantage, unless Mark Lynch goes and starts his own party, and takes 20% of the Republican vote with him. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that whoever wins this race will be the governor of South Carolina. And I'll eat my words if not. But if you want my money, if you want me to put my money where my mouth is, I would go on Kalshi. I'd put $20 on Mark Lynch winning this race. Um, at the very least, I'd put $20 that says Nancy Mace isn't going to win. But anyways, this is all just the ramblings of a man with no script, just sitting here in front of his computer. So if you did like this video, if there's anything else in world politics in general, I keep up with pretty much everything. This one just hit really kind of close to home. I knew a guy that campaigned for Lindsey Graham in high school. He did like his political. Uh, we had like a political class that you could take, and you could be interns for different politicians in the state, and he would go around and campaign for him. But if there's anything else, that you guys want me to talk about before I release my TF2 videos, let me know. I'd be happy to. It can be about you fucking the Chinese Civil War, the Heavenly Kingdom. I could talk about my goat, Nicholas the Second. You guys just let me know in the comments. What do you guys want to hear about? And I will read every single one of those, as I'm sure there won't be many. But you guys have a good day, and I'll see you at the polls.